What's going on, guys? Sherjan here, your personal mentor. One of the toughest conversations to have with your boss especially is about a raise. Getting a raise, not a promotion, just a monetary raise in your salary or your bonus. And a lot of people are scared to bring this conversation up. The first reason is, they're scared because they're like, what if they say no? What if I get rejected? And what if I, make myself look like a fool in front of my boss? The truth is, the worst thing that can happen in this conversation is your boss will say no and your life will remain the same. And your life is already pretty good. So I wouldn't be too worried about hearing a no from your boss about getting a raise. The second reason why a lot of people fear this and have are scared to bring this conversation up is because they're actually not prepared to have this conversation. They don't have all the facts and they have not created a market meaning they don't know their true value. So when they go in, they're just going in from an aspect of passion, meaning like, hey, I have been, paid the same amount of money for the last couple of years, so I should, deserve more money. And that's the wrong way to enter these conversations. You want to enter conversations like this with all the evidence and facts and resources that you can have at your disposal, and then hopefully turn that conversation into an actual, actionable conversation, which both parties would enjoy. So anyways, in this video, I want to talk about a couple of ways which you can do that, and how you can do that, and how you can actually align yourself to have a better conversation regarding getting a potential raise. So the first step that you got to take care of is assessing the situation. So assessing the situation basically means taking your passions out of it, meaning like, yes, you've worked there a couple of years, and yes, I know you want a raise. Everybody wants more money. I get that part. But you got to actually put the evidence down and put it down on paper and really see what are some of the main reasons why you should get a raise. So assess your self-situation in terms of in that company. What are all the projects you've worked on? Like, what are all the assignments you've worked on and deals you participated in? What is all the value you brought to the firm, especially in the last couple of years where you haven't been given a raise? And at the same time, like, really think about what is your relationship also with your manager, right? So is your manager's relationship, has it improved over time? Are they a big believer of yours? Are they a big supporter of yours? All of those things. So really assess that situation and write it down. Write down all the things that you think are in your favor, and also write down the things that are not in your favor. Maybe you screwed up on a project. Maybe you had a negative project that went south, or maybe you had an argument with your boss. Hopefully those things are less than 5% of the entire experience you've had in the last couple of years. So all the signs within the last 2 years of experience at this group, at this firm, are pointing towards you potentially getting a raise. So that's just assessing the situation from an aspect of what you've done, and also assessing the situation in terms of how do people, especially your boss and his boss or her boss, the managers that are above you, feel about you. And if those things are positive, that means that the assessment of the situation is positive. That means that you should start doing the next step. So the next step is assessing your value internally. So internal to the firm. So let's assume you're working in a medium to large size firm. There's a lot of people that are similar to your rank or around your rank or your level in the firm. You want to kind of figure out how much are they getting paid, right? Because remember, these firms, especially medium to large firms, they're not going to pay you, beyond kind of what the bucket of where, your talent level is or where your rank level is in that firm. If you're an associate in a consulting firm or a VP in an investment bank, you're predominantly going to get paid like almost all other VPs or associates, right? You're not going to be too much of an outlier unless somehow you've been able to bring so much more value to the firm. And generally speaking, in structured, firms like investment banking, consulting, accounting, even tech, like, you're not paid based on all of that stuff. You're basically paid as based on your rank. Now, if let's just say you are someone, for example, on the trading side, and somehow you pulled off a trade which brought in $100 million to the business, then that's a different situation. But those are super, super rare scenarios. 99% of people are just riding up and rising up that ladder, that food chain of some of these corporate companies. So you're not going to get paid too far off from the rest. But when you assess your value, or find your value internal to the firm, you're just trying to make sure that, hey, I'm hoping I'm not too far off from the rest. So if you're lucky and you have a couple of friends in maybe the same group or maybe some other groups, ask them, if you're close with them. Obviously not everybody's going to tell you how much they make, but with my firm, for example, when I was at Morgan Stanley, all the associates and VPs kind of knew what everybody was making, right? Because we were basically friends, and we would share our numbers, our bonuses with each other, and be like, hey, look, here's how much I got paid. Oh my god, you got paid another 10K, or oh my god, you got paid another 30K. That's totally fine, not an issue. But point is, at least the comps, the comparables internally to your firm. Now, that's the first thing you got to do. Assess the value of you internally. And that basically what it does is it gives you the floor of where you need to be, getting paid. Now, if you're obviously below that floor, that's a good reason for you to be asking at least for the floor. But if you're above that floor, then that's still fine. But hopefully that just gives you that idea that, hey, you're being taken care of, on a fair perspective, on a fair basis. The second piece of assessing your value internally is also to figure out time, right? Someone might be, getting a raise every 6 months or every year, and you may have only gotten a raise once every 2 years. So maybe once you're assessing your internal value, ask your friends, hey, when was the last time you got a raise? Was it every year? Was it every 6 months? Was it every 12 months, 24 months, whatever it is? So really figure out that, piece, that timeline. Ultimately, this is gonna give you that floor like I mentioned. All right, so now you've assessed the situation, your team loves you, at least loves you a little bit, you feel like you've done a lot of good work, so you deserve some sort of a raise, and you've kind of also figured out the internal situation, what's your value internally compared to your peers. So you also kind of know the floor of what your raise would, what minimum salary should be like. This is when you need to go external. So finding your value external to the firm. So what this means is you need to start networking. So go network and start meeting other companies in your industry, in the verticals that you're in. So let's just say you're in consulting at McKinsey, go have a coffee chat with someone at Bain, go have a coffee chat with someone at BCG. Let's say you're in investment banking, you're at Credit Suisse, go speak with someone at JP Morgan or Morgan Stanley or Goldman, right? Start having these conversations, not about like, hey, how much do you get paid? More to do with, hey, I'm open to opportunities at your firm. So this basically means you're showing interest of jumping ship. So you're going from your current firm and you're opening up a door or a process with some of these other competitor firms, right? Now, basically this will take time. This won't happen over a week. It may take many, many months actually, 6 to 12 months actually. So you need to start as early as possible. So start having these conversations, and when let's just say recruiters or other managing directors or whoever you have those coffee chats with are like, hey, so are you looking to jump or looking to move, or switch your firms? Just be open, be like, look, I'm open to the idea, and if the opportunity is good and the team is great, I'm happy to explore that. So what this will do is this will automatically start opening up these processes, these interview processes with these other firms. So in a discreet way, your firm obviously doesn't know about that you're having these interviews and conversations externally. You'll start interviewing. You'll start interviewing and meeting these companies, and slowly you'll get through a couple of processes, maybe 2 or 3 processes at some of the firms that are competitors to your current firm. And if all goes well, you will get an offer or 2, right? If all goes well, you'll start finding out just through the grapevine, okay, there's an offer that's coming in, or maybe, hey, here's where the offer would stand. And generally speaking, that offer is usually 25 to 50% higher value than what you're getting paid right now. So if you're getting paid $100,000 right now, you might get an offer for $125,000 or $150,000 from this competitor firm. Now that doesn't mean your current firm will match that offer, because remember, any firm who's trying to unroot you or deroot you, I don't know the exact word, or pull you out of your current firm, they'll have to put in a little bit of extra money on the table to get you excited to jump ship. But having said that, now what happens is you found your value external to the firm. So let's say you get a couple of job offers or indications from some of these companies. Maybe they're not in writing, they're just verbal, right? Now you know that number, which sets the ceiling. So you have the floor and you have the ceiling of what your salary could potentially look like. All right, so those are all the easy steps. Now comes the hard part. The hard part is you actually having the guts to walk into your manager's office and asking her for that raise, and just bringing her up to speed on all the stuff that's been happening. So this is the hard part, and this is how I think I would recommend you do it. So one of the mornings, when you get to work, get there early, and when your manager comes to office, and hopefully it's not a Monday that she's super stressed or one of the busy days, knock on the door and walk in and be like, hey Jenny, do you have a minute? And have a smile on your face, don't have any stress, right? The worst thing, like I said, that can happen is she's gonna say no and life will go on. And you can still maybe potentially take that other opportunity elsewhere, but worst case scenario, your life will remain the same, and your life right now is actually pretty awesome. So walk in, be like, hey Jenny, how you doing? Got a minute? And Jenny will be like, hey, come on in. Close the door behind you, have a seat, and just be honest, be like, hey Jenny, I gotta talk to you about something that has come up, right? Now obviously Jenny will know, you'll be bringing up something related to salary or promotion or, one of those tough to have conversations. But if you have a smile on your face, everything becomes a little bit easier. And this comes back to that first point I mentioned, assessing the situation. What is your bond? What is your relationship with your boss, with your manager? Because these kind of conversations should not be conversations that are done with fear and stress in mind. You want to be doing these with a smile on your face and having a good communication layer between you and your boss. So sit down, across from Jenny and have a conversation and bring it up and bring up this. Be like, hey Jenny, I've been here for about a couple of years now. I love working here. I enjoy working with you, especially you. Now, when you mention something like that, I enjoy working with you, she automatically knows that you're actually, supportive of her, which is a good thing, and it'll put her on ease. She's not gonna, be aggressive about it. She's not gonna be like acting a little bit on the defensive. She's gonna be like, okay, look, he's happy or she's happy with working with me, so I'm already in the clear, and that gives her confidence. So you wanna kind of provide a little bit of that confidence in the first part of that conversation. Then you wanna mention, hey, I've been here a couple of years and I've actually had an inbound interest from one of our competitors to come join them, right? And say it with no fear. Look them in the eye and say that. Be like, hey, I've had this inbound interest. Don't mention you have inbound interest from multiple firms. That means you're running a process, which is the truth, but I don't want you to say that because that just means you're exploring other opportunities. Just say you've had one inbound interest with a firm that you actually respect, and as a firm that is, is a respectful firm, it's a competitor to us, and they've offered me a role to come join them. Now, Jenny knows what the conversation is going to be. This is where you need to say the next thing, which is, look, Jenny, you know that I actually enjoy being here. I enjoy working for you, working with you, the team, all the projects we do. But at the same time, it's important for me to grow personally. And what I mean by growth is both professionally and financially. You need to say that you need to grow from a professional perspective. That means all the learning experience, the opportunities, even a promotion, right? But financial growth is important to you as well. You want to make more money, right? You don't want to just get paid the same for the rest of your life. Now, when you've said that, she's obviously going to ask you questions like, hey, who's the firm? How much are they, paying you and all that stuff? You don't have to answer those questions. You can just say, hey, look, I don't want to say the name of the firm. It's better for me to not disclose that. But having said that, you can kind of guess it's one of the usual suspects, right? That's one of the best ways to say it. And be honest with it. Be like, look, I am considering the firm, but I wanted to bring it up to you first. And I wanted you to kind of look into it and see if there's ways for, to kind of figure out what a potential package for me could look like, as I've been here now a couple of years and I haven't received a raise in the last couple of years. And for me personally, I have to get back to that other firm in the next 7 days. Now that's an important part. You want to put a deadline to it. You can't just leave it open-ended where, hey Jenny, yeah, let me know, come back to me whenever, because then there's no urgency to it. And she's not going to have an actionable ask or task for her to do. So you need to put a timeline down and say, hey, look, Jenny, I unfortunately have to give them an answer within the next 7 days. I'm coming to you first because I want to be here. I'm committed to this firm. I'm committed to you. I enjoy working here. I'm excited about this. But at the same time, like I mentioned, my professional and financial growth is important to me as well. So you mentioned that. You've told her like you have 7 days. Please let me know. And then just say thanks. I appreciate it. And then just walk out without having any stress or fear. Just, you've just basically updated her. And that's the great thing. Now, basically, once you've done that, Jenny's going to call HR. She's going to basically say, hey, LeBron James is taking his talents to Miami. No, she's going to basically be like, hey, look, we have this really good talent who has brought this up. What can we pay him to keep him, right? So what do you think HR is going to do? HR definitely knows the floor because they know all the numbers for all the people that are your peers. So they'll mention to Jenny, hey, look, he's getting paid or she's getting paid this much right now, which is pretty much, in line with everybody else. But, if, a competitor is pulling him, they're probably offering him another 25%. So why don't we offer him another 10 or 15%? So yes, you're not going to get that, 25% bump or 50% bump sometimes that, the competitor is offering you to pull you out of the firm. But you may get 10%, you may get 15, maybe even 20%, which is great. Your ultimate goal is to get a raise, right? And which you haven't received in the past. But by doing this or using this strategy, the step-by-step process of assessing the situation, getting all the facts, creating a market internally and especially externally to find your floor and your ceiling, you've now figured out a value to bring up in a way to your manager. And then once they come back to you and they say, hey, look, sounds good. Jenny's like, hey, Sherjan, or hey, John, I think that's awesome. I'd love to kind of give you a raise. Come on in. And they may give you 10, 15%. Great. That's a win. And if they say, hey, 0, we're not going to give you a raise, no worries. You can either continue being at that firm or you have the choice to move to the competitor. Anyways, that's the video for today. Hopefully these few tips help you as you move forward with asking for a raise in your own company. And hopefully it helps you grow professionally and financially. Thanks.